The Racing Fan is on.
Really excited to make it into the chase.
Going into turn 3, it's 2-car length separation.
1320 K-Fan, the sports leader.
All right, welcome back, 1320 K-Fan, the sports leader. Shane Beck here, along with Steve Schoenfeld. Don't forget, coming up here at the top of the hour, we're going to talk NASCAR. Lots happening in the world of NASCAR. You wouldn't think so without, whether or not
the
racing,
season's over.
But this is the silly season. This is where all the fun starts, all the juggling and drivers changing and everything happened there. Yeah, we'll talk with insider Tim Packman here coming up in the next segment, top of the hour. Jimmy Johnson winning his 5th title. They celebrated at the awards banquet here last night. We'll talk about that as well. Hendrick Motorsports, a little shakeup happening there. New owner for Richard Petty Motorsports. Happens to be one of the largest taxi cab owners in the world. We'll talk about that. And
so we can expect the 43 to be in yellow and black.
Yellow and black with taxi cab sign on the top. Yes. Interesting there.
It's a new aero package.
He's not going to make any changes, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because
I don't know. The way they finished the last couple of races.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Not so bad.
We'll get into it. We'll talk about it here coming up in the second hour. Right now, I want to welcome in our next guest. This is a young man, age 11, who has been competing out at Miller Motorsports Park in the karting scene, racing out there competitively for the last few years. 11 years old. He also has competed overseas in Brazil, racing there as well. Bruno Carneiro is this young man. He's sponsored by Rodizio Grill, one of my favorite places to go, by the way.
It's one of your favorite?
One of them.
It's
I got a couple.
It's not.
Is it your favorite?
Yeah, it's not one of my favorites.
It is
it's
the favorite. Okay, well, yeah. It's one. We love Rodizio Grill,
Yes.
by the way. You got a cool sponsor, kid. Bruno, welcome in. How are you, man? You all right?
Yeah.
You got a cool sponsor, by the way. You go there a lot?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
How come you haven't called us?
You love I love the grilled pineapple and the grilled veggies, man. And of course all the the meat and the sausage. Yes, of course.
Bacon wrapped turkey.
You're making me hungry. Let's go. Let's talk about your racing career. You started racing a couple years ago?
6 years ago.
A few years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
You're a wily veteran then.
Yeah.
6 years ago, you started racing karts. That would have put you about what, age 5?
Yeah, 4.5, 5.
Very cool. And I was watching some of your video. In fact, your dad, Luigi, is with us here, and watching some of the video that your dad has put together. Your dad does this professionally, the videos and such, does a very nice job. You're pretty good, man. You're going to be something someday. The way I've watched you drive out there, you feel comfortable in that seat.
Yeah. I feel comfortable because me and the kart have like a relationship. I like the kart, so I don't want to get out of the kart, even if it's too dark. I want to stay in there.
You want to stay with the kart. I understand that, and it's probably a good thing to have a relationship with the kart and not, stay away from the girls because the kart can't talk back to you or anything, The kart. You've won some races out there. In fact, you're a multi-time champion, Utah State champion in 05, 06 in the 50cc class, state runner-up in 07. The Honda 4-cycle 80cc rookie. In 2008, you were a state champion in the Honda 4-cycle 80cc. You've won several races, and you went over to Brazil this last year, here in 2010 in March, and took a podium finish over there in Brazil. Tell me about that experience.
It was really good because we got there. The kart was all new. The motor was all different. I had a test earlier in January, so I kind of got the feeling. So we started off with practice, and it wasn't the best. I was in last, but we went to qualifying, and it got better and better. Me and my teammate were like thousandths of a second away, and I grabbed the pole. So we started. My teammate passed me on the start. I felt the second, and then my weight fell off on my back, and so I was disqualified, I think, like 2 positions, so I finished 4th in overall.
Very cool. Wonderful experience. Luigi, step up here, if you will. You know, the thing I was most impressed about this is Rodizio Grill really wanted to help this young man in his racing career. It was almost like a partnership that is unheard of. He's really backed him up. The coolest thing that I like is your son earned this trip. Tell me about that. That is way cool. It's almost unheard of because most kids, they just get handed the money. This young man earned this trip all the way.
Yeah, and we owe that once again to Rodizio Grill and to Ivan Utrera, who's the founder of Rodizio Grill. He started sponsoring Bruno when him and I would start working back like 2000, 2001. And then he, from the very beginning, he started to realize that Bruno would be in love with anything that has a competition on. We went to Vegas once for Ivan to drive because he's also a race car driver. And on the way back, we saw birds flying. And Bruno's like, look, that bird is winning the race, so anything would be a race. And we would go to Rodizio to have lunch with Ivan and friends, and Bruno would be making the races with the salt and the pepper. And, everything was a race. Everything is a race in his mind. And then from the very beginning, Ivan was able to notice that, and he gave Bruno his very first go-kart. And in the past 2 years, especially with the economy, we're all aware of how difficult it is to, make people sensible to how important, sports and, in our case, motorsports, are for these young kids. And, in my case, as a musician and video producer, it's kind of hard to say, hey, Bruno, you're not going to race because we have no money. So instead, the approach we had is like, okay, let's be proactive. Instead of just saying, it's tough this year, we cannot keep competing. No, let's go after it, And then Ivan, another good lesson that he gave Bruno was to say, listen, what if I give Bruno gift certificates from Rodizio Grill? And it's going to be his desire to understand, okay, I want to accomplish. That's my goal, is to race, to be at the track, no matter which track. But I have to make an effort to achieve it. So Bruno goes door to door, and that's what he's been doing for the past 2 years. And
when we get done, I'm going to give you my address.
Okay. So then, and it's amazing. And it's one of those things that happen only in Utah, I think. The response from our neighbors, whether in Harriman, Riverton, Sandy, Draper, West Valley, West Jordan, you name it,
Murray.
We went to Bountiful, everywhere.
Yeah.
And everybody helps. Everybody tries to help in one way or another. Some people cannot help with buying a gift certificate, but they go and they donate $2 or $3, whatever they can. And that's how he's been raising money. And he raised all the money to go to Brazil in March, where he raced. Then they invited him back because of the pole position and the final overall 3rd place. They invited him back for the Brazilian Championship, for the 45th Brazilian Championship. He went back there and raised money again the same way and got top 10 on against, 20-something kids, 30-something kids. And then because of that result, they invited him to go to Italy with the fantastic DR racing team, Danilo Rossi, who is a 5-time karting world champion. He invited Bruno over there, and we left, November 5th, I think?
Yeah.
And came back about 2 weeks ago. And it was such a good experience because, once again, he raised for 4 months, he had a goal to raise money to go back to Italy. And we had the help of a number of wonderful friends at the track, and people that have been helping him for a long time, like Wilson Motorsports, like JHP Machining, like Crystal Clean Car Wash, and Rodizio itself, and Mitch Wright, and we have the list goes on, and Ojo, and everyone. And the amazing thing is, okay, he accomplished that. He went there. He did very good, and now Danilo Rossi selected him to join their team's program for the future, and he wants Bruno back in 2011 to start to stay in the factory, to get completely acquainted with the mechanics and stuff, that he forged a good relationship last month, to start developing a program that will put him in the WSK, which is the European Karting Series for 2012 and beyond.
Yeah.
Along with the races in Utah and in the U.S. So, but none of this would be possible if it was not for the, because sponsors don't have to do it.
Sure.
Some business they can just say, listen. I mean, and I have a lot of replies of businesses saying, "Oh, it's been tough," and the economy in some ways serve well, because it's a good excuse to say no, But still, there are people that have been helping us through the economy on good times and bad times, but they've been there throughout the whole process, and without them, I mean,
wouldn't be possible.
It wouldn't be possible.
Yeah. Well, Bruno, how do you like the track at Miller Motorsports Park? That's your home track.
The track is amazing, I guess I should say. Like, very comfortable. It's not broken up or anything. The whole entire Miller Motorsports Park is great because I've been to a lot of tracks, and even in the bathrooms, it's clean. There's nothing on the floor, but it's like socially it's good.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? The very first time I went out to Miller's, I noticed the exact same thing. There's a lot of facilities you go to that just aren't. I mean, the place is spectacular, and the restrooms was honestly something that I noticed, because that, and in my mind, that's the key to the rest of the facility.
Yeah.
If they're taking care of that.
And the interesting part is, before Miller, it was very difficult to convince the wives, the moms,
you need to come with us.
Races. Yeah, to come with us. They would.
Yeah.
They were going,
Sure,
but
yeah.
there was always that complaint, and then at Miller, I mean, the impressive thing is that everything's clean, no matter what. Everything's organized. Everything is taken care of, and
Sure, yeah.
And it's been the karting program has been fundamental for Bruno to be able to, achieve everything that he's been achieving so far.
Well, you know what, Bruno? I have a standing challenge from this show with Helio Castroneves. If he ever comes to Utah, we have a challenge on Miller's kart track. I'm going to have you sub for me.
And here's the other
because
thing.
then I got a shot at winning.
we've talked to Helio Castroneves. We've talked to Mario Andretti this last year, and they all started kind of how Bruno is starting. And we wish you well, man. We hope you do good, and good luck to you coming up here in 2011. We'll be following you. In fact, we'll probably go to Rodizio Grill and have some.
I think
some grub
so. And one thing you
almost count on that.
One thing
Matt's
that's really
raising his hand.
impressive. One thing that really impresses me is you've won championships out here. You've placed high in the championship races out here at Miller's. You go to a world facility. I mean, you go to a world, the Brazilian championship. That's the class of the world, and a podium finish. That tells me how good the racers are in Utah.
True.
Good job.
Absolutely true.
Good luck next year. We'll be watching.
All right, there he is, Bruno Carneiro. In fact, check him out at brunocarneiro.com.br. You can check out his website there, and also on Facebook as well.